I just visited the Royal Canadian Mint and picked up a set of the brand new coins featuring the portrait of King Charles III. This is a uniquely Canadian portrait created by artist Steven Rosati. The coins are manufactured by the Royal Canadian Mint. With the quarter, the nickel, the $1 coin, the dime, and the $2 coin. I'm back now from my visit to the Mint today for the coin exchange event. And so at the Mint they just gave out the 5 definitive coins in a small envelope like this, just in exchange for an equal value of cash and Canadian dollars. And then they gave all 5 the set of definitive coins for 2023. So here's the 2023 definitive Canada $2 coin, the toonie, with the security features and the new portrait of King Charles III, De Gracia Rex. And this new portrait is by a Canadian portrait artist named Steven Rosati. The process for selecting the new portrait was took a while. Apparently they contacted over 300 different artists and had them invited them to submit designs, possible designs for the portrait, and Steven Rosati's design was picked from all of those possible portraits. So the biggest version is the one that's here on this loonie. There's a little bit more space on the loonie than we have on the inner component of the toonie. This one's actually the largest portrait there. And then the next smaller size, of course, is the quarter, the 25-cent coin, the definitive for 2023. Just being released at this point in December. These were minted back in starting mid-November, and now are finally being released in December of 2023. So not sure what the mintage numbers are going to be like at this point in the year, but we'll probably get some info on that a little bit later. And then there's the dime, the 2023 definitive dime with the portrait, the smallest one there. And then finally the 5-cent piece, the nickel, definitive for 2023 with the portrait. So we can do a little comparison there of the previous portraits for the monarchs. So I just collected up a few nickels here that we can see. So we can see that Queen Elizabeth II actually had 4 different portraits during her reign in Canada. The first 2 portraits were just matching, I think, the same as in the United Kingdom, in Great Britain. But then the final 2, if I'm remembering correctly, were unique Canadian designs. And so that trend has continued, where this portrait of King Charles III is unique to Canada. So in the other members of the Commonwealth who are minting coins will have a slightly different portrait for King Charles. So you can see also that King Charles is facing in a different direction than his mother, than the Queen before him. He's facing to the left where she was facing to the right. But that is the tradition for the British monarchs. As you can see, if we go back to Charles's grandfather, the father of Queen Elizabeth II, he was also facing to the left. So Charles's portrait is following the same format there as his grandfather's portrait. So that's the tradition for the British monarchs. When a new monarch takes the throne, then typically they will have the new portrait facing in an opposite direction, just to really establish the new reign. People will take notice that a new monarch is appearing there. So we have this portrait of King George VI. This one was designed by Thomas Humphrey Paget, I believe is his name. His initials are actually there, I think HP, just at the bottom of the portrait. Not sure if it's very clear. And then when Queen Elizabeth was crowned queen in 1952, and then the first coins appeared in 1953 for Canada. This was the Mary Gillick portrait that we used. Then following that was a crowned portrait. This one's often referred to as the laureate portrait because of the laurel leaves on her head. We have this one where she's actually wearing a tiara. So this tiara crown. So this one was designed by Arnold Machin, who was a famous sculptor and designer, and did kind of iconic design for the Queen for stamps, postage stamps in the UK as well. And then we have this design with the crown, which was designed by Dora de Patery Hunt. And then the fourth and final portrait of Queen Elizabeth was this one, which was designed by Susanna Blunt. And this one with no crown. And then that brings us to today, 2023, with the reign of King Charles III and his new portrait by Steven Rosati. So you can see the change and the development there of the portraits of the monarch for the Canadian coins, which, as I said, is similar. Has a similar history to the British coins, but eventually we have gone in our own direction for the coins as well. So, as I mentioned, coins have their definitives, and also stamps have their definitives. So we have this new Canada Post postage stamp, a definitive stamp with the portrait of the new king. So this is King Charles III postage stamp with a photographic portrait there on the stamp. So this is following on from, of course, portraits for his mother, Queen Elizabeth II. The stamp's photographic portrait there for her. So his seems to be a little bit more somber. It's a black and white photo there. Hers is definitely a little bit more colorful there with her wardrobe and the full color photograph. But I'm sure we'll see more stamps from King Charles's reign in the future. Well, this is the first one that we have, which has been released. So it's interesting to see how these things will change and develop, and we see how the coins are reflecting these changes and these historic moments. So there you go, guys. I hope you enjoyed this little bit of a closer look at the new portrait and the new coins that are released, and they're now coming into circulation in Canada and in the other countries of the Commonwealth. So hope you enjoyed. Take care. We'll see you in the next video.